Yes, this is a math video, so please take out your pens and your pencil and your paper to start writing. Always remember, when you are viewing a math video, you must prepare yourself to write. That's the only way you can assimilate what you are viewing and listening to. Okay, so you are make that a routine, so you are practicing one time. So we are all familiar with the phrase, a positive times a negative is a negative. Okay, a positive times a negative is a negative. And the word times in algebra has a symbolic translation, which is the multiplication sign. But first, let's outline a worded scenario to exemplify a positive times a negative is a negative. So we can say I, or we can start 3 times. We can start by saying 3 times I borrowed $4. 3 times I borrowed $4. Now, 3 now is a quantitative word. It has its symbolic translation. Times, we know this translation for times in arithmetic is the multiplication sign. And 4 is a quantitative word. It has its symbolic translation. And we know the symbol for dollar sign. We know the dollar sign. So these words can be translated symbolically. Symbolic translation, they call it that. Another word for math, we can say maths is basically symbolic translation to facilitate quantitative communication. So 3 times I borrowed $4. So three, although we did not say positive 3, but once we see 3, we actually mean positive 3. A bare simple 3 is like a positive 3. If you don't see a sign, there is an invisible positive sign. Even though it is not said, automatically it's positive. So a positive 3 times, symbol for times is multiplication sign. I borrowed $4. Borrowed $4 is negative, the minus sign. So this can represent the symbolic translation of those words there. 3 times I borrowed $4. Okay, so 3 times, that happened 3 times. Okay, so this basically means one time and symbol for and is a minus sign. A second time and a third time. 3 times $4 was borrowed. So finally, we must have borrowed $12. Okay, must have borrowed $12. So a positive times a negative. For example, positive 3 times a negative 4 is equal to negative 12. A positive times a negative is a negative. Now, as we are here now, we can actually demonstrate that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So if we want the 3 back, if we want back the 3, we can do a simple little algebra. We can say hence These three that we see in here can be obtained as equal by dividing negative 12 by negative 4. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So this actually proves that a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and that is another common phrase. Okay, so remember that in the next, you'll see that in the next video. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. But the main focus for this video was a positive times a negative is a negative. The same way a negative times a positive is a negative. Okay, so just remember that a positive 3 times a negative 4 will give you a negative 12. Positive times a negative is a negative. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So please be writing. And as you are writing, so you are simulating the knowledge.